It's time to get to the brass tacks of it all. The 2016 FBU National Championship 8th graders. This is our championship week preview of the quarterfinals. Neil Sika in our Jersey studios, and glad you're aboard. We're going to talk to Alan Popadines, Youth1.com National Scouting Director. 4 of his number 1 picks all making it down. We've got some great matchups to talk about in these quarterfinal games, as the champion will be determined over the course of December 17th through the 20th in Naples, Florida. These quarterfinal games kick off on Saturday, the 17th. And we're going to start with Colorado and Seattle. That matchup, Colorado was Pops' sleeper team, and they get a Seattle group coming back after the 7th graders made the national championship game last year and lost to Broward County. And then the winner of that will play Broward County and South Texas. Broward getting by in perhaps the toughest game of the 3rd round over GFL, and they meet South Texas, making a strong run as San Antonio last year. That is quarterfinal matchup number 2. Kentucky and Massachusetts, a little vintage FBU National Championship, if you will. Both made the Final 5 in 2011 as 8th grade teams and lost in their opening games. Kentucky's furthest run in 6 years, while Massachusetts has one of 2 teams headed to Naples. And then it's Maryland and KC Metro. Maryland's 7th graders were in the Final 4 last year. KC Metro, they've earned it this season, getting to the quarterfinals. That'll set up the 4th quarterfinal matchup. Much more to come on this edition of the 8th grade championship week preview, as Pops will join me and we'll talk about these enticing games. Stay with us.
You can ask any coach, player, or fan. Before the beaches, the golf courses, the sunsets, Florida is known for football. But in Naples, Marco Island, you get them all. With the facilities and accommodations perfect for your off-season training, tournament, or event. Florida's Paradise Coast is Florida's sports paradise.
The best youth football players in the country are at Youth1.com. Youth1.com has the Elite 101 report of the nation's top 101 players, the Freshman 450, rankings, recaps, and news for football and all youth sports. And now anyone can create an athlete profile and share their stats, videos, and skills with the world. Whether you want to be the best or see the best, go to Youth1.com, celebrating the best of youth sports.
The Path to Naples is brought to you by the Naples, Marco Island, and Everglades Convention and Visitors Bureau. Also by Battle Sports Science and Youth One. Welcome back on our Path to Naples, as today we talk about the 8th grade quarterfinal matchups. Neil Sika with you, and now we go via Skype to State College, Pennsylvania, where he's getting away from all the admiration that Whippany Park legend, Alan Popadines of Youth1.com, the National Scouting Director. I have to give you more praise for having your number 1 picks down there, even though it's a round early, but it's setting up for some fascinating football, bud.
Yeah, well, maybe you can wear my varsity jacket when I see you down in Naples.
Warm and cozy, I know it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Whippany Park legend aside, I am happy to see the number 1 teams that I picked across the country in each region make it down to Naples. That's what this tournament's all about. Kids from all walks of life, all playing football, and I'm happy to see the best kids down there.
Let's start out in what was the West Regional. Both of these teams from the West, and in the draw they get put up against each other. Seattle is your number 1 pick, and they will play Colorado. Very impressive in their shutout over San Diego, who was your sleeper, Colorado, that is, let's be clear. And now they hook up in this first quarterfinal matchup. Offensive weapons all over the ball. Let's start with Colorado, though, and Neo Abney rubbling his way throughout this 3-round affair so far.
Yeah, this is a kid that coaches told us about before the tournament began. Now that the tournament's here, we've seen what he can do. The kid just eats up yards, eats up clock, tires defenses out by forcing them to tackle him all game long. Great looking running back, and he's done it. He's shown with multiple touchdowns throughout the tournament that he is their go-to back.
Gavin Sawchuk is a name we've thrown out a few times through the opening 3 rounds. We talked about him in the preview shows. The speedy receiver had another long catch for a score against the San Diegoans.
Yeah, to quote the great Mark Jackson of NBA, "Mama, there goes that man again." This kid is fast. All he does is burn people deep. He's a dangerous weapon with the ball in his hands. Defensively, he will, cover wide receivers like a glove. He's a really dangerous weapon to have in the secondary. He basically eliminates a third of the field if you throw to his side. Great looking kid so far.
Two-way player A.J. Kula doing it on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, we mentioned him in the preview show as well. Listed as an athlete. Plays quarterback on the offensive side of the ball here in this tournament. You'll see him play wide receiver, running back, and then defensively, he's a corner. Just a great all-around athlete. Bright future for him, whatever position he decides to focus on.
Talent all over this Seattle field, and if you've been following along the path to Naples, you know a lot of these names by now, or at least even going back to last year. Shane Noel, All-American wide receiver, Paulo Banchero at quarterback. No shortage of what they've done on offense throughout the opening game so far.
Yeah, Banchero to Noel is become a household name. Those two connecting, All-American quarterback to All-American wide receiver. It's tough for any team in the country to put up with that. Both kids are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", whatever. They're tall. We'll put it that way. Both kids have a height advantage and everything else. Great looking connection. And then one other kid on Seattle, offensively, Caden Jumper, who is also an FBU All-American this year. Kind of that fullback, tight end, H-back mix. 2 touchdowns so far this tournament. Also has one defensively. Seattle is just, as you said, just deep. No other way to say it. They're just deep.
The way the bracket would have set up in the past, these two would have faced each other. So they're facing each other now off the championship draw. Who do you like?
I like Seattle. They just have weapons across the board at every key position. Their line is fantastic. Their skill guys are great. Banchero is a leader. I love him at quarterback. I think they're very solid.
So Seattle, your pick out of this matchup with Colorado. Keep in mind, this is a new edition of Colorado players. 2012, those 8th graders played in the national championship game and lost to GFL. The winner gets Broward County and South Texas. You had Broward County coming out of the Southeast, or that South Regional, as your number 1 pick. South Texas was known as San Antonio, but the impressiveness of what Broward County did in a wet and windy condition game against GFL without 4 starters to win 9-7, making the closing play on defense.
Yeah, Broward, everyone likes to say that the South Florida kids don't like to leave South Florida because, it's not 80 and sunny every day. This Broward team did it. They came up to Georgia last weekend, beat GFL 9-7 in a cold, wet, miserable game for everybody except the players. And the most impressive thing, as you mentioned, did it without 4 starters, including my number 1 player in the country for the class of 2021, Amari Daniels. He wasn't there. He returns this week. So for Broward to do what they did last week without their best player in the country, that speaks volumes about what they got on that team and what's coming.
Of course, keep in mind these 7th graders have already won the national championship. That was last year. Jaden McBurrows having a good 3 rounds so far. Emil Aim has been excellent playing safety.
Yeah, McBurrows really stepped up last week in the absence of Daniels and the absence of a couple other starters. He's an All-American this year, an FBU All-American this year, I think selected as an athlete, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what this kid is. He's a track kid. He's very dangerous with the ball in his hands. Can play defensive back, wide receiver, running back. Just one of those kids that you'll move around because he's so fast and he creates mismatches. You want to get him the rock and let him go.
Loaded wide receiver group of Davis. You've got Collins, Robert Floyd. The sky is the limit for anyone on this team, and it helps that they've played together, of course, during their regular season.
Yeah, Davis and Floyd also All-Americans this year, FBU All-Americans this year. And Collins was on the Dade County team last year. Over to Broward County this year. The rich get richer. Nick Vadiato has his choice of weapons to get the ball to.
Yeah. What should we know about this South Texas team outside of changing names from San Antonio? They've had some wins in past tournaments, made a strong run last year. Devin Brown, I've talked about him on quite a few occasions, this running back who is very good.
Yeah, Devin Brown is a kid who has come through the FBU system, been to the camp, been to Top Gun, has been an All-American in his youth career. Great looking running back, and while to this point throughout the tournament he hasn't ripped off those 30 and 40-yard runs we're accustomed to seeing, he is knocking down those 4, 5, 6-yard games that move the chains and keep his name in the stat sheet. He's doing the small things to keep South Texas going and supplementing the passing game.
I really like that passing game with Rikesi Johnson throwing it to Cruz Untz, the wide receiver who's got multiple touchdowns in this tournament.
Yeah, they're a nice little connection. I mean, with Johnson, this is a kid that we didn't really speak about coming into the tournament thus far, but has impressed with his arm. He has really shown the ability to make all the throws you want him to. The short intermediate route is really where he makes his home. He can throw the deep ball, but really that 10 yards and in West Coast dink and dunk offense is kind of where he makes his home. And in Untz, here's a kid that coaches, in practice they saw that he had ability, right? They saw that he can make some plays and all that. But what they didn't realize is just how much of a gamer this kid is. He really turns it on when the lights come on. Very impressive and has really been a catalyst for the South Texas offense.
The question is, how do they beat Broward County?
The answer is they don't. I go with Broward County. Weapons galore. The bulk of this team has played together during the regular season, so you're not wasting a lot of time on install. You're just playing with your new toys of your coach, Chris McGonigal, so I pick Broward County.
Okay. Other part of the quarterfinals, Kentucky, Massachusetts. It's almost like a throwback game. You see these teams in 2011, 2012, and then kind of a quiet patch, but Kentucky, very big and physical. I know they turned a lot of heads coming out of the South this past weekend in the first 3 games. And then Massachusetts, well, we know the pedigree that they've brought. They're a power team, physical, but have also mixed it up in past years. What are your early indications on this game?
I think this is a great matchup for people who are a little bit nostalgic like myself, dating back to the early days of this tournament, as you touched on. Kentucky, always big, always big and physical. They got about 55 million schools to choose from in the Kentucky Middle School Football Association, so they get the best of the best. They get the size. And in Massachusetts, you get a bunch of guys who love Tom Brady up there in the Northeast, so I love what they're doing. They always put together a bunch of good kids, and this year's no exception.
You mentioned Kentucky getting the best of the best. Jordan Steele among them, 2-time All-American.
Yeah, and here's the kid. You know what he does on the offensive line. He is a mean kid in between the lines, off the field, the nicest, most respectful kid you will ever come across. But on the field, on the offensive line, he will block you into the opposite end zone and won't feel bad about it. Knock you down, not pick you up type of kid until after the game, and then I'll tell you, good job. But also, he's impressing on the defensive line. They put him as an end and as a tackle. Multiple sacks, has caused a bunch of fumbles. Just a great two-way lineman.
Josh Turner, Gavin Thomas, 2 other players for Kentucky that have been very good.
Man, good luck to whoever was tasked with tackling Josh Turner. This kid has proven time and time again that he is a bowling ball, downhill runner. Get out of his way. He's going to dip his shoulder and run you right over. He's not trying to juke you out. He's just running right through you. And in Thomas, he's their wide receiver that can catch the ball. He's their deep play threat. A lot of key catches in the victories this past weekend. Look for him to extend that.
Massachusetts sent their 6th graders to Naples. They'll do the same with their 8th grade group, and we get to know the Garland brothers a little bit better because Connor and Thomas have been studs.
Yeah, they are another group of kids, another set of kids who have come through the FBU process. Been to the regional camp, started Top Gun. Thomas was an All-American. Great-looking twins that can play a lot of different positions. They're probably going to go to that Massachusetts Catholic League school up there and in high school, wherever they choose to go. But they are using this 8th grade stage as a coming out party all the way.
We know the effort's always there, and you get it with the talent, too. And Owen McGowan and Duke Doherty, this defensive player has been excellent all over the field.
Yeah, first I'll go to McGowan. He has proven to be the heart and soul of this Massachusetts team. And talking to the coaches, some of the other parents, a couple players, this kid brings the energy. He's a kid that the rest of the team rallies around. They love him. He picks up the tough yards, has found the end zone as well. Just a kid that you can't say enough positive things about. And then with Duke Doherty, took a year off last year, back this year. Special teams, he has a touchdown. Defensively, outside linebacker, he is tracking receivers, knocking them out of bounds, nailing them. In run support, he does it as well. Great-looking kid. Can't say enough about him in this Massachusetts team.
Who do you see coming out of this vintage piece of nostalgia? I even combine both of those.
This is a coin flip. I like Massachusetts, though, in a very, very tight one.
All right. Fourth quarterfinal, Maryland. They were your number one pick out of the Northeast. And KC Metro. Now, these seventh graders last year, they get to the Final Four, but Dallas using an ineligible player. So I think they wanted something to prove, Pops, and they're on the road to making that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. KC Metro returns only a couple of kids from last year's team. I think they got their feet wet with this tournament to see what it's like, the level of competition, just how crazy talented these other teams are. Mm-hmm. And they went out there, and they got some new kids. They put some pieces together, mixed with some of the older pieces, and this KC Metro team is for real.
You know, I've heard various opinions about Antoine Littleton and how he'll project going forward, but when it comes to being a running back in this tournament, one of the best around, maybe the best in the nation.
Yeah, the kid has done nothing over the past 3 years to prove otherwise. A 220-pound back who can move. He's a headache. Nobody wants to tackle him, especially when he gets into that secondary. You're looking at a 150-pound corner versus a 220-pound running back. I mean, my money's going to be on the running back almost every time. Round 3 against South Jersey, 2 touchdowns, including a long run where he ran away from other people. Littleton, a 2-time All-American, will have his pick of high school.
And that's the beauty. A few years ago, you remember him down as a 6th grader, and he had to do everything. Now you've got Jaleel Farouk in that backfield. He's kind of the lightning to the thunder of Littleton.
Yeah, Farouk is an FBU All-American this year as well. So how nice is that for Maryland to say that both of their running backs are FBU All-Americans? I mean, that alone is impressive enough. But Farouk is, about the same height as Littleton, but just has speed. He's a dynamic player. Also in the return game, you'll see him playing in the secondary, I believe, in the FBU All-American Bowl. So you're talking about speed to Littleton's power. It's a dangerous one, too.
Don't forget about Gary Rosemond, though. On special teams, he was exceptional in round 3.
Right. This kid kind of made headlines as a running back, a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Has transitioned more to the cornerback position defensively. And then on special teams, I have not seen a better effort, special teams-wise, in the 5-6 years that I've been covering this tournament. Every kickoff, this kid is downfield making a play. Whether it's turning the ball or the returner inside or making the tackle himself, Rosemond has impressed and really put his statement for Maryland.
You mentioned just a few players back from the KC Metro group last year as 7th graders. Tyron Young, they call him the Tank, and he has been finding his way into the end zone.
Yeah, here's a kid that KC Metro kind of built their offense around. They knew what he brings to the table. They knew the type of powerful runner he is. And that kid just picks up the tough yards, grunts the ball down the field, runs people over, and is really the key to this offense to making it run.
Well, to stop that Maryland ground game, you're going to need Edgar Hunley to make big plays as the defensive end.
Hunley's a player that just brings a smile to my face watching him play. 6'2", 240. We spoke about him as an impact player in the previews. He picks up those 3rd and 1, those tough yards, and it really gets that KC Metro team pumped up. It's evident in the way that they play. Defensively, as a defensive end, very, very good against the run and the pass. I think a little bit better against the run, can really make a lot of tackles in the backfield.
Teams that have cohesion going from 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, so important. So even if you've got 1 or 2 guys that come back to this year's edition with KC Metro, as the case of Patrick Daniels as a linebacker, that's invaluable to have.
Absolutely. This is a kid who's been here before and can tell all these new guys, listen, the competition even ramps up a little bit more. It's more than it was in rounds 1, 2, and 3. This is when it gets for real. This is a kid playing linebacker who really goes all over the field, makes a lot of plays, calls out the defensive front, is really that leader on the defensive side of the ball that every great defense has. Daniels brings the experience, the ability, everything you want. He really serves that defense well for KC Metro.
Crab cakes or burnt ends?
Oh, well, if I'm eating, I'm going burnt ends. If I'm picking football games, I'm going crab cake. I like Maryland a lot. I just love what they got there.
All right. So you've got Maryland, you like Massachusetts, you like Broward County, you like Seattle. Who plays in the championship game? Who wins it?
Okay, I see Maryland taking on Broward. This game is extremely close.
Yeah.
Quarterback's the same, running back's the same, wide receivers the same, line the same. I think the key difference in this game comes from Broward's ability or cohesiveness that they played together for several months. I like that in an all-star tournament like this where they don't have to get too familiar with each other. I take Broward in a very close game over Maryland.
Great job, my friend. Look forward to seeing you in Southwest Florida where you'll trade that shovel for the Speedo, right?
Oh, that's what I've been known to do, yes, Neil.
All right. Can't wait. Can't wait for that. We will be on the path to Naples, of course, on FBUNC.com. You can catch all the recaps from the opening 3 rounds and the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade quarterfinal previews. Our championship week opening ceremony is Friday, December 16th, with the quarterfinal games kicking off on Saturday, the 17th. Our great production crew here in our Jersey studios, we thank them for our coverage on the path to Naples 2016, the FBU National Championship. For Alan Popadines, National Scouting Director of Youth1.com, I'm Neil Sika. We'll see you in Southwest Florida.